All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be breaking down my favorite outright bets here for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, as well as showing you guys some of my favorite placement bets as well. Obviously, this slate's going to be unique to attack because Sky Scheffler is such a heavy favorite, and we'll touch on how to go about attacking this tournament in that regards, and we'll start off with that. And so this week really comes down to, are you betting on Sky Scheffler to win or not? And if you are doing that, I would say that should be the only bet that you are making, okay? Because if you're betting on him at 3-1, there's no sense in placing other outright bets to me, especially given kind of the style that I roll with for the most part, where I'm just betting one unit like per outright bet for the most part. So to me, it comes down to, you can either bet Sky Scheffler to win, and that's the only outright bet that you make, and then you're probably just going to be focusing on other placement bets instead. Now, I do want to call it that if Sky Scheffler does end up getting an AMT time, I might be running out him first round lead and win. That could be a way to go about attacking as well, where you're betting him to have the first round lead and win. You're probably going to get it, 10-1 maybe. Depends on the odds there. Then you could place more outright bets as well. But I probably am only doing that if he does have that AMT time. And so with that, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the outright takes. All right, which golfers are going to be good traditional outright bets here? And we got one this week, which is a little bit crazy, and that's going to be Seb Straka. So this is based off of the previous year's data. What are good outright bets, typically speaking, in terms of like, all right, golfers that rank well in these stats win, about 80% of the time. And that's going to be a good outright bet. And so the only one that we have here is Seb Straka, which is a little bit crazy. Now that takes in certain stats where Sky Scheffler might not apply to it because he has only had one start thus far this season. So that's part of it, but interesting data point there. Then we have possible outright bets. We'll take a peek at that. How many possible outright bets are we getting? These are golfers that meet the 70% threshold in terms of outright bets, traditionally speaking, throughout the years on the PGA Tour. And then we get Scotty, JT, Sam Burns, Hideki, Sunjam, and actually Robert McIntyre. I'm not getting to Robert McIntyre. Interesting to see him popping up. Then we go ahead and take a peek at long shot only. Okay, these are going to be golfers that fit the 60% of outright winners, traditionally speaking, on the PGA Tour. And the way I kind of look at it is we really only want to be targeting these golfers more with their long shot nature of them. So if they have longer odds, that's the way we go about doing it because they're not likely to win. And so you could toss in Tom Hoge into that mix. I think he'd be fine in that regard. Maybe JJ Spawn, maybe Davis Thompson, but that's the way we go about doing it. So we're going to see, we're not really getting a lot of great outright bets, but now touching on one of my favorite outright bets, if we are not betting on Sky Scheffler, that's going to be Sam Burns here. So Sam Burns has been a golfer that has been playing really well for quite some time now. Even dating back to last year during the fall swing, had a really good stretch there. Played well at the Century Tournament, and then the last 2 weeks kind of okay, kind of more shoulder shrug weeks. You'll take them, but you're not exactly excited about them. The thing with him is he does have good course history, especially over his past few starts. Now, there's this weird trend going on with the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And here's a tweet from Adam Kirk, who I believe has a fantasy golf podcast. But interesting here. So like golfers that have played well the previous year have been golfers that have gone on to win. Now that's not something I think we need to like be dialing in on, but it certainly is something that is the cherry on top when we're looking at reasons to bet someone. And so we always want to be looking at good course history. And so the fact that Sam Burns is one of those golfers that does have good course history, with multiple top 10 finishes, one miscut, that's a little bit concerning. But in terms of outrights, we're just trying to trace that upside. He certainly has that. The fact that we can get him at 25-1 as arguably the third best play is insane. Okay, so that feels pretty good there, checking all the boxes in terms of being a good option for us. Now, I don't really see any sort of placement bets that we need to go out of our way to target with him just yet, but if you wanted to bet him maybe 3-1 to top 10, I could see that as well, but I don't know if we need to get in there because we're going to get some golfers later on placement-wise that I like a little bit more. And so if you guys watched my core plays video and like preview video, you noticed that I was on Billy Horschel a decent amount. Heck, I made him the cover boy, which could end up maybe making me look bad because Billy Horschel can be a little bit hit or miss. I would argue Billy Horschel is a better outright bet than he is DFS play, although DFS-wise, he's extremely cheap at his price tag. And we can also get him at some pretty darn good odds. Now, his odds have come down, okay? Still 75-1 on FanDuel. We were able to get him at 80-1 earlier on in the week. That's okay. Like, I'm not someone that's just trying to push out content on maybe like Monday morning, Sunday night to force bets on golfers to try to chase the best odds. But this is one of those spots where it's like, all right, Billy Horschel at 80-1 is obviously a very good value, and the books have now adjusted. Now, I did make that clear to people. I always take a quick peek, but I'm not going to put out content just to be like, oh, we got the best odds. I want to put out content that's like, how can we help people place the best bets each and every week? And I think Billy Horschel is going to be a part of that group of players that are a good outright bet. Kind of feels like I keep bringing up Jason Day, but kind of feels like Jason Day. It's not as clear as Jason Day, but he does rank out top 6. And I know Jason Day didn't win. People are like, just stop bringing that up. But the point of bringing up Jason Day is the simple fact that we are getting a clear value that almost worked out for us outright-wise. And you guys could have ended up betting on him placement-wise as well. It was a clear outlier in the market, and that's how I feel about Billy Horschel this week. I think I'm just going to call that the Jason Day bet when we continue to get them. And I think Billy Horschel would fit that mold of being the Jason Day bet. So looking at him, guys, 75-1, feel pretty good about that. Okay, he has shown upside here at this course as well. Top 10 finish at this tournament 4 years ago and has made the cut 4 straight years. Billy Horschel is someone that made a swing change about over a year now. And I really question why, because he had been someone that had been extremely consistent. And I think we have seen why, because lately he has been showing more upside. Okay, he's had multiple top 10 finishes now over his past 8 starts here. Also a win on the DP Tour. Top 10 plays finish last week. And the thing with Billy Horschel is, like, if you're watching him, he was grinding out some putts that I would argue most players wouldn't make. It kind of felt pretty clutch, if you will, like where he probably felt like he still had a chance to win. And those putts were very crucial for him at that moment. And the fact that he was able to drain those honestly got me a little bit more encouraged. And top of that, he's a good enough stat fit. That's the concern. 34th best stat fit, but he is a strong specialist, ranks 9th in the field. Now, a golfer that's kind of on the flip side of maybe not getting onto bets early to get the best odds is going to be Seb Straka here. So Seb Straka, his odds have actually gotten worse on some sites where you can get him at 45-1 now on FanDuel. Across the board, he opened up at about 40, which obviously we're always going to take the better odds if we can get them. Seb Straka is certainly an interesting click. Obviously he ranked out as the only good outright bet that we have on paper, considering previous year's winners, like that aspect of him. And on top of that, ranks out top 10 in the 9-to-5 model, overall top 7. Okay. He has been someone that has played the course twice, although it was poorly. That's the biggest concern with him, is 2 poor results here. But key stat wise, guys, he's the best stat fit in the field. So he ranks out top 5 in good drive percentage, birdie to bogey ratio, and then top 10 in ball striking. Total driving's not the best. That could, the distance could make a difference, but overall, the fact that he has been hitting the ball extremely well and accurately, we love that there from him. And so to get him at 45-1 feels pretty good. Get him to top 20 at 2-1 to me feels pretty decent there as well. So I like that with him. Obviously, the form has been great. Winner at the American Express, and then a 7th place finish last week. That was highly encouraging. I don't think there's going to be any mental hurdles with him as well. Where last week, some people might be worried that he had a lead and gave it up. It didn't feel like he choked away a victory. It just felt like really Rory went out and won it. And so I think that's big for a golfer when they're going into another week. And so I'm happy to get to Seb Straka as well this week. And then another bet that I personally feel like is an easy click this week, if you are not betting on Scottie Scheffler, would actually be Lucas Glover. So Lucas Glover, you can still get at 80-1. Some of the sites have come down on him as well, but you can get him 80-1 on FanDuel. That's pretty good. DraftKings had him open up, I believe, at 80-1 as well. They have come down a little bit, but feel pretty strong about this. And the fact that you can get him at 2-1 as well, I don't mind that there as well, to top 20. Looking at it, he's a golfer that does kind of check all the boxes this week as well. Not an elite upside finisher at this course where, he's finished 39, 37, 58. Not the best there, but the fact that he's made 3 straight cuts there, like that aspect of him. Key stat-wise, really pops there. Top 5 stat in the field, guys, this week. Top 25 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. That is pretty darn huge. The one concern data-wise, and I think this is honestly why we're getting him at such a cheap price tag on DraftKings for DFS, but also why we're getting him at such such high odds, 80-1, is the fact they missed the cut 2 events ago. You take that away, which we know the American Express is a high variance tournament. He is someone that opened up with a terrible round in round 1 and then wasn't able to overcome it. You need to be scoring. He was not scoring that week. Besides that, he has been playing some pretty darn good golf. I know this is like cherry picking and it's something that doesn't matter, but a 2nd place finish at the Black Desert Championship, if you want to call this a desert course. I have it characterized as a TPC style course, but you could call it a desert style course. I say that because players are typically not worrying about missing the fairway, and it's not as penalizing as maybe another desert course. Obviously, that does happen, but it plays like a traditional TPC style course, and that's why I've listed as that style course. But nice to see that he played there as well. And then looking at, guys, I am on the fence of whether I want to get to Charlie Hoffman. He seems like a decent long shot bet. I mean, 125-1 is pretty insane for a guy that finished 2nd at this tournament last year and 14th the year prior to that, a guy that is a waste management sponsor, kind of wants to play well here, a guy that just sent out an email to the PGA Tour that honestly, if you're not backing up with some good play this week, it's going to make you look bad. So he's probably has a little bit more motivation to play well there as well. But DraftKings had him listed as a withdrawal last week. And so my biggest question with Charlie Hoffman is he banged up at all? Is he injured at all? Can we get some clarity? PGA Tour, you're trying to make all these updates to make fans more engaged. Just give us a freaking injury report. That's step one. That's an easy one. Literally, when players submit their paperwork for that event that week or confirm that they're going to play in that event, they should just have to confirm whether or not they're banged up. It's a simple addition. It could even be a simple checkbox, and then they write in on whatever the computer or phone that they're doing, what injury they have. It's not that hard. It's a simple fix. We shouldn't have to guess in 2025 whether or not some guy is actually banged up or not because he withdrew from an event. I don't know. It is strange. I thought that he withdrew, and so there is some risk there. This would be a spot where maybe you just do half a unit instead. You could do that, but great staff, guys. 6th best staff in the field. Okay, the concern is going to be the good drive percentage and the birdie to bogey ratio. Well, mostly the birdie to bogey ratio, 68 there. Good drive percentage, 24th in the field, but really good in total driving and ball striking. So that bodes well for him. The fact that he's played well at this tournament also helps. He's not the best specialist, typically speaking, for this course. Okay, there is some alarming stuff there just in general, like nothing too great, but nothing too worrisome as well. And the fact that we've seen him kind of be in contention there at the American Express, played fine at the Farmers, like he's played good enough golf. It wouldn't be surprising to see him be in contention. And so that's also my long way of saying, if you want to bet him to top 10 or top 20 at those odds, I think that's going to be a good placement bet there for Charlie Hoffman. All right, guys, and then another outright bet that I need to touch on as well. It'd be one that I'd be kicking myself if he were to win. And we've almost had that a couple of times now this season. Nico Echeverria was kind of one of them where if he won, I really would have been kicking myself there at the Sony Open. Heck, Sam Stevens 2 weeks ago, I would have been kicking myself if he won as well, where he finished 2nd place, where he was kind of the exact same play as he is this week. Maybe he's a slightly better play this week. He has course history here, finished top 30 at this event. Key stat-wise, pretty strong across the board, top 15. Okay, specialist is really where he's getting knocked the most data-wise this week. But the fact that we can get him at 8-1 as well on FanDuel, Bovada is pretty darn good. It's a golfer that's clearly just checking all the boxes. Great form. Made the cut at the Sony Open, made the cut at the American Express, popped there at the Farmers, AT&T Pebble Beach Pro, played well. During the fall swing, played pretty well as well. And so he's a golfer that wouldn't be surprising to see win. Again, do I see him winning if he's battling Scotty Scheffler? Probably not. Like, we're betting on Scotty to maybe just finish top 10 and kind of had the week that he had last week where he's never really in contention. But obviously playing well. That's kind of what we would need here. Now, I will say getting him at 2-1 to top 20 feels like a pretty good bet. Getting him at 6-1 to top 10 also feels like a pretty good bet. Perfectly fine with those bets there as well if you guys want to run those out instead. And then, guys, I do want to get into some potential made cut bets or maybe even top 40 bets if that's the market that's available for you guys. And we're not exactly getting these on traditional books just yet. We got it for like Betway. Betway. And here, I'll go ahead and toss in some more books to see if we're getting those odds. We are getting them from some of the Euro markets. Yeah, basically Betway right now, but we can at least kind of look at it and use that to gauge the market here. So Bud Colley is someone that is a good staff hit, made the cut this event last year. That's really it. He's a good staff hit, made the cut last year. I was hoping we'd actually be getting a better number on him here, but still not terrible. Ben Knowles is someone that also been playing some decent golf lately. Good staff hit. I like the fact that we can get him at 1.25 to 1 to make the cut. I feel like those are pretty good odds there. And then Jake Knapp, local guy, Jake Knapp, who's played this course a bunch. At the very least, I think betting on him to make the cut at least at 1.4 to 1 is a pretty good bet there. Again, we're not getting the lines for more of the American markets, but be on the lookout for those. I think those could be sneaky good bets for us thus far this week. And then that's going to do it for this video. Again, if you guys want access to maybe the matchup bets or 3-ball bets once those are released, mostly on Wednesday, head on over to 95sports.com. Get access to all the fancy golf tools for just $10 a month. Including that is going to be the 95 cheat sheet, the ownership leverage tab, the custom model, lineup builder, and plenty of other tools that you guys can use to be successful for your bets. Including that's going to be prize picks and underdogs, prop tools as well. Take advantage of that, guys. Best deal out there for fantasy golf, period. Best value out there, period, as well. Take advantage of it. $10 a month. That's going to be all, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you being here. Give a like, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's have a good week this week. And as always, let's keep cashing.